Guys, welcome to some of the snapper family that we've brought in the house today. Now some of these guys, Rory down here, Sherlock here, and Watson, they all live inside. Oh, sorry, I've just knocked the camera. They all live inside at the moment because they get a bit more advanced treatment. They get the UVB, UVA, UVB heat bulbs, or better known as MVB, mercury vapor bulbs, just to help them with their UV uptake. But we're prepared. We've got our shoes on, got the snake hook, and we're ready to do some snapper handling. Now, when we clean out the ponds, snappers go in their tubs, usually like this tub here on the left. These are rubs. As you can see, they've got the handles, which just helps them be a bit more secure for when you're transporting the snappers. These tubs have all got holes drilled into them. Now we're just having a quick health check. On the left we have Myrtle. She's about 7 years old. In the front at the middle here, underneath the hook, this is Sherlock. He's just over 1 year old. At the back there we have Watson and Sherlock, both with their bad shells, bless them. They came in separately. Watson at the back there, he's about 10 years old, even though he's just about the same size, if not smaller than Myrtle. His shell growing properly like Myrtle's, which you'll see shortly. He's spent time pyramiding and deforming and growing in all the wrong shapes, and it's really soft, bless him. Even his plastron's really soft. We're working on a fungal infection on him at the moment, and the shell rot's almost gone. So over there on the right hand side we have Rory, our smallest alligator snapping turtle, and at the back there we have Maximus, our biggest alligator snapping turtle. Now this is just 5 of the 15 snapping turtles we have here at Snapping Turtle Rescue and Sanctuary, run by Equine Exotics. So where should we start? Maximus, covered in mud because he's been digging in the bottom of his pond. Now for the commons we tend to just use sand, but for the alligator snappers we use the sand and such soil mix. This tends to be better for their shell, corrects the pH a bit better. All this talk of shells, you might be looking at Maximus's shell thinking, oh my god, look at the state of that. But this is how alligator snapping turtles are supposed to look. They're supposed to look like a rock, a leaf, a bit of wood, debris, just laying at the bottom of the river. Perfect camouflage if you ask me. Now alligator snapping turtles, they're found really from Missouri down to the Mississippi River, and all of their little tributaries and that come off of there. Quite a select area, and in America they actually are classed as endangered. They've been hunted for their shells and their meat, and they are classed as endangered. We've got an escapee. The difference between alligator snapping turtles and common snapping turtles is quite distinct really, apart from their appearance, being that the alligator snapping turtles have this spiky shell and leaf/log appearance. The other differences are their neck length. Now I can touch here on an alligator snapping turtle and he cannot reach me. I can come back right up into his join and almost stroke him on the top of his head without him getting me. Whereas with a common snapping turtle, their necks are almost as long as their body. They can reach back to this third scute here. I don't know if you can see that, but he can barely reach me there. So another thing to notice about the alligator snapping turtle that's different to a common snapping turtle is this lure he's got in his mouth. Can you see that? That little worm-like thing. Let me try and point to it there. You can see him wiggling it there. That's his lure. Now the common snapping turtle doesn't have this. The common snapping turtle is more of a active predator, so they'll go out and search for food, as well as being like these guys that ambush predators of sitting and waiting. So the alligator snapping turtle is almost exclusively a ambush predator, and they will sit in the murky water covered in mud and leaves, looking just like a mud and leaf, and they'll wiggle this lure and attract worms, fish, frogs and things that will swim up to their mouth and they'll snap closed. Now both species have this hook-like beak that is literally razor sharp. You would not want to get your fingers or toes caught in that. That's why we wear shoes every time we handle and work with the snapping turtles. Now, another thing that's different between the common and the alligator snapping turtles is the tubules. Now, these guys, the tubules, for those that don't know, are these spikes that are along the neck. Now, there's rumours and myths that they can be used to absorb oxygen through the water, from the water, and that's why they can stay underwater for so long. But in alligator snapping turtle, they are pointed on their face and neck, whereas on the common snapping turtle, they are rounded. Can you see there? See them rounder?
Something else that's cool with common and alligator snapping turtles is that whilst alligator snapping turtles have the biggest spikes on their shell, they actually start with big spikes on their tail and they shrink as they grow, whereas the common snapping turtles start with smaller ones and they grow as the turtle gets older.
Here is a juvenile alligator snapping turtle. He's about 8 months old. He's eating and growing really well, bless him. Look at his gorgeous shell. Need a little bit of a brush. Just to help get some of this shed off where he lives in slow moving water. And I haven't quite yet put fish in with him to help clean the shell. I have to do it for him, just a little brush with a toothbrush. So this is Rory. I think we should probably go down to Sherlock here, seeing as he's being a bit antsy. So this is Sherlock. He came in about 6 weeks ago from his previous owner that could no longer care for him. He was living in a 4-foot aquarium. Now he did have UVB. If I can show you his shell, you can see there his carapace is all misshapen. It's a bit sunk. It's quite lovely and round. And if we're turning this way and you look down his shell, you can see it's not pyramided at all. It's just deformed. Now the difference between lack of UVB, I'm just going to put him down. The difference between lack of UVB and incorrect diet is how the shell goes and grows, should I say. So Watson at the back there, who we'll get onto shortly, you'll see that his shell is completely misshapen. There's actually really deep ridges in here, and that is due to incorrect lighting and no heat, whereas this is due to incorrect diet. Now the shell tends to disform and splay when there's lack of correct nutrients and not enough minerals available in the diet, whereas the pyramiding tends to come from a mix of diet, but lack of lighting is more so the case. So Sherlock here, back out. Now you can see the severity of his, let me support him a little bit there, of the shell damage there. But I'm pretty confident that he's under 12% UVB now, reflected, UVA, UVB heat bulb, MVB, and he's basking every day. I know that he can feel the benefits from it now. He had no basking light in his previous home, but he did have UVB, so that's a good start, because a lot of owners tend to think that just because they live in dark, murky water where not much light gets down, they don't utilise UVB, but even just head or tail tip exposed is enough to get their daily allowance of hydroxyvitamin D3. Sherlock here is on our intensive diet, so that just includes a lot of calcium, very well balanced minerals from Arcadia, and he's being fed a lot of greens to give him the amino acids that he needs and the omegas to help fix his shell. There's been a few studies on the fact that missing omegas and some of the essential amino acids can cause bad shell growth throughout their life. But I'm pretty confident that under the UVB and our intensive diet, that shell will be back to perfect within a few years, I think. There's Myrtle. Myrtle's one of our longest residents that's been here. She was found wandering around Folkestone. The man picked her up, thinking, oh, I found a turtle. He didn't know what species of turtle she was. He put her in the footwell of his car, and it was only when she climbed up the seat and started snapping at his hand when he was changing gears did he decide to put her in the boot and give us a call rather than take her home. and it came straight to us and dropped her off. She had loads of mud and algae on her shell, which is all now gone. She's been with us for about 3 years now. Now what you can see is Myrtle's shell. In fact, let me bring you down, eh? See, Myrtle's shell is much flatter. The scutes are very well formed. I don't know if you can see, you can just see how smooth it is. Her scutes are very well formed. She came in with a slight bit of pyramid in. She came in with a slight bit of pyramid in, which is this is the end now. This is the end of her pyramiding growing out in the last 3 years. And if I get you a bit more at an angle like this, you can see the shape of her carapace. Now if we compare that to Watson over here, now you can see the deep ridges, you can see the shape of his shell at the back there. It just really isn't good for him, bless him, his poor organs. But we'll get on to him shortly. So Myrtle is what you'd expect to see in a healthy juvenile to adult common snapper. She's about 7 years old now. As you can see, she's got a nice healthy full tail. We'll bring her around here, show you her face without her snapping hopefully. She's a little bit dry because I pulled her out the pond about 3 hours ago, but she's alright. They can dry up for a few days with an hour period for soaking every day. Now we have Watson. Now Watson, named because we have Sherlock, who's got a bad shell, and he needs a psychic, so this is Watson. Now Watson came in about 3 to 4 weeks ago. His previous owner that actually rescued him was doing iodine soaks, had him under an MVB, but he just wasn't eating, and due to his shell rot and shell disformation, we thought it'd be best for him to come into us for a bit more of an intensive schedule of treatment, getting fecal tested in the vets, quality UVB. We've obviously got T5, 12% UVB Arcadia on him, and a 150 watt mercury vapor bulb for the UVA and extra UVB while he's warming up, which he's been using and utilising every single day. So let me try and see if I can show you. Now I'm not going to be silly enough. Stick my finger in there. I'll tell you that much. But I will just gently use the edge of my foot to try and show you just how deep these cracks in the shell really are. Now I say cracks, they're not, they're just joints between the scutes. But you can see how deep that is. And if we're spinning around, we're just doing his tub. Now you can see here, can you see how his shell tapers off down here at the bottom? And you can see another big deep ridge there where his shell's been pyramided. You can see all these individual lines on the scutes. That's each new layer of growth that's pyramided due to incorrect diet, and you can see all these little individual lines here. That's all built up shed and all built up scutes that have just grown wrong. It's not just layers of shed that will come off eventually. Now with correct UVB, correct diet, you can correct it. Now Myrtle's pyramiding was very, very slight, really good, and it's healed perfectly. You can see there's literally just a slight bit of deformation there, but she's on the road to recovery. What are you looking at, eh? We'll get you back in the water shortly. So as we were saying, Watson's got shell rot, bless him. He came in covered in this lime scale that you can see here. I'm not sure of his previous home or why he's in the condition he's in. We're just here to do the best we can for him. Look at this chunky old tail. Can you see? Where do you think you're going?
So everyone's back in their tanks and ponds. Thanks for watching, guys.